Well, good morning, everyone. Here we go. There we go. I'm sorry. I hope it's not too loud. Okay. Wednesday, March the 1st. Wow. Time's running by. And happy peanut butter and jelly sandwich day today. So don't forget to stop by and get those on your way through the Capitol. I think they'll be serving all morning over there. So we got several bills to consider this morning, and I want to open our meeting as we usually do with a prayer, and I want to ask Emory Donahue, representative, to open us up.
Thank you, Chairman. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for a good night's rest. We just pray that you be with our families and watch over and protect them as we're away. Help us, Lord, to do the work of the people, but to make sure that we do the right thing. Guide us and direct us in all these things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. I've got one other piece of business I want to draw committee's attention to, and it's, I passed out this handout, and I just want to make sure people on this committee and others are aware of a problem. You know, a lot of us that in production ag have lots of problems, weather, markets, federal government rules and regulations, state regulations. So we deal with a lot, and so this is one issue you might hear about, this is from the Georgia Fruit and Vegetable Association, which I'm a member. Our Senator Sam Watson is actually chairman this year of Georgia Fruit and Vegetables Association, and that's one of our largest concerns is a new wage rules from the U.S. Department of Labor over wage rates, and it deals with our temporary foreign workers on the H-2A program, and it's really a great program that we all depend on to bring in temporary workers, mainly from Mexico, to harvest our fruits and vegetables, and it's something my farm's used for over 30 years, and just could not get our fresh fruits and vegetables harvested and packed without this program. But one of the real problems that comes with this program is a mandated wage rate, and it's called adverse wage rate, that U.S. Department of Labor comes up, and we don't really know how they calculate it. They have not told us how they calculate it. And it was a huge 14% increase this year. And so growers like me are mandated to pay it, which we are presently doing. But I don't think consumers realize that purchase our Georgia and U.S. fruit and vegetables realize they're paying the cost. It's passed directly right on to consumers. It really gives foreign produce a huge advantage over domestically grown vegetables and fruit. And you can see what the average wage rate is in Mexico right now, where most of our competition comes from. It's $1.50, and you see where we're mandated to pay is in the 14 to 16 to 17. California is 18. So it's very frustrating for us. It's I don't like doing it as a grower, but it's very frustrating to me to see consumers having to absorb this cost in the grocery store every time they go, trying to choose what blueberries they want, what strawberries, squash, just a little bit of everything. And I think our food security for this country is very important, and it's just very concerning to me to see federal guidelines and rules that just really adversely affect our ability to grow and feed American consumers without just floods of foreign produce coming in here. And our Georgia ag economy is strong with vegetables right now, lots of fruit, very diversified. And I worry about where we'll be in 10 years with policies like this and other imports, pressure coming in for other things. So just wanted you to understand that. It's a frustration of mine. So thank you for hearing me vent this morning and talk about it. Something we're dealing with a lot. To move on, we've got 3 bills on the agenda. I'm gonna hear. We're gonna save Chairman Perkle's bill till last, and we're gonna go to HB 528 first. Representative Gaines, if you come to the table and talk a little bit. I think we've got a sub, and we passed out some other amendments we'll talk about as well. So if you would walk us through 528 again. Appreciate you presenting it last meeting on Monday. So we'd love to see if we can't get this moving.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman. The LC number is 540227S. And I'll just I know we walked through the bill the other day, but the major, and to remind everybody, or for those who weren't here, the goal behind this legislation is for online services where you can sign up for a service online for automatic renewal, that you should be able to cancel that service online, and that's the objective behind it. It has the other mechanisms if for some reason you forget your password, or and have worked with the industry partners. Have heard from several folks over the last few days to try to perfect the language. So 227S just has largely cleanup language. The largest, most significant substantive change is actually towards the very end, lines 148 through the end. The old version of the bill would have been would have basically said if you didn't comply with the legislation, it would have been considered a deceptive or unfair act or practice, which also brought a civil right for those who would want to bring a class action lawsuit. After discussions with those interested and make sense is putting this under the Attorney General, where he could bring action. He does have the Consumer Protection Division already in his office, and so we believe that made sense. So that's the most substantive change here in this version of the bill. Again, largely cleanup. I will mention there's some potential amendments that if the committee's open to considering that were additional yesterday as we talked through this further. The main one being removing references to free gifts, and there's a few references to that throughout the legislation. The point being, this bill already has, before your credit card is charged, the company should give you notification that it's going to be charged, whether it's email, however they want to give notification. They're going to charge your card. So they'll have to do that even if they give you a free gift, and so that, frankly, the references to it didn't make sense after we made some of the changes. So that's what largely the amendment, the first on line 41, the changing or inserting the word for a paid term of more than 31 days, renewing for a subsequent term of more than 31 days. That's just some cleanup language. But that's where the bill is today, and be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. We've got several questions. Representative Donahue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate this bill, and I really think I like it from the second time reading it. This has nothing to do, I passed a bill probably 6-7 years ago that allows a credit card company to charge you the 3% or 3.5% or the debit card if you use that, because that is a pass-along charge. But this has nothing to do with that.
That's right.
And everything, and I read through it pretty quick, but when you brought it the other day, I kind of thought I knew that answer. I just want to make
That's
sure.
right, Dad. It has nothing to do with that.
And if you receive a gift and you cancel, do you have to give the gift back?
No, so if they give you a free gift, and that's outlined in the bill, if they give you a free gift and then later try to charge you for it, once they've given it to you for free, it's yours.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions? I've got one. at the end of the bill, and I've just now seen this, sub, and, thank you for bringing that, but, we changed some terms of the violations of it. Could you speak to that in a little more detail, why? And,
You're
'cause-
saying moving it from a private cause of action to the Attorney General's office?
Okay,
So the real goal there was, under the old bill, it would have, in order to make changes to force a business to comply, it would have taken court action that could have taken, quite a bit of time to actually get that issue fixed. The goal here was the Attorney General's office already has a consumer protection division. They're used to receiving these sort of complaints in other matters. They would be able to more quickly move through and make sure that businesses are complying with the legislation.
so you feel that, Attorney General's, consumer protection has enough tools in the toolbox to, correct a company's action on this, or is it, it's not ability to bring class action suit, though, is it, that's not in the bill either, I don't think, is it?
No, yeah, the original version did have the class action suit. This would have just put under the Attorney General's office.
Okay. Number 17. Yeah, Representative Cox.
Thank you. I like this bill quite a bit as well. I have a question, and it's sometimes we're asked to get a special promotional package. Let's say it's $50 for the next 120 days, and then after the 120 days, somehow individuals are opted into a $250 a month charge. Does this address that issue, or is there a way
So
that can be addressed?
Yeah, so the bill does require that they actually notify you before they charge your card. One of the things that this is somewhat of a separate issue, but I know a lot of people, I mean, myself included, you're signed up for these services, and I don't know, you remember you even signed up, and you kind of forget about it, and then all of a sudden you go back and look at your last 10 months of credit card statements, and you've been paying for something $8 a month, and you forgot about it. But they do have to notify you each time before they charge your card. So at least you would get notification that you're about to be charged, and could cancel. This would require them to allow you the opportunity to cancel online, so you could cancel.
So it should simplify the cancellation
should.
process.
Oh, it definitely should. I mean, per this bill, any online, any business, even if they're in person, but they allow you to sign up online, you would have to be able to cancel that service online.
Okay, that's important. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see no more questions. I'd entertain, about these, we need to discuss about the amendments. We need a motion, if the committee so feels we need these amendments. Well, let's. Let's see, I've got one other speaker, Misty Holcomb, is she here? Would you like to speak to the bill briefly? Okay.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, my name is Misty Holcomb, and I represent the Entertainment Software Association. That's the National Trade Association for the video game industry. And on Monday, I expressed some concerns about the original bill. And since Monday, Representative Gaines and I have worked together on this, and we appreciate his time and willingness to work with us. And these amendments clear everything up, so we no longer have issues with the bill. Just wanted to say that and thank him for his time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, very good. Appreciate you working with that. We got a motion. I'm not sure. I think we need to get the amendments on the bill. Huh? Okay. Got a motion. Do pass on the bill. Do I have a second? Okay. Do I have any other discussion, questions? Okay, got a motion to adopt the amendments. I got a second. Any other discussion on the amendments? So, we're talking LC 54022-7S, and the amendments, 1, 2, 3, 4 amendments. Has everybody got copies? Everybody's good with amendments? Okay. All in favor of the amendments to HB 528, say aye. Opposed? Amendments added to the bill. Now need, we have a motion and a second on the bill. Any other discussion on the bill with the amendments? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Hearing none, bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Really
you,
appreciate it.
thank you for bringing HB 528. Mr. Crowe. HB 471. Thank you for coming back to the Ag and Consumer Affairs Committee
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
with
I
a very good bill you
appreciate being here and y'all having me.
presented to us on Monday.
Thank you. Thank y'all for allowing me to come back and present this again. This is House Bill 471. It deals with predatory practices. Essentially, what's happening, you'll have a homeowner. Typically, the ones targeted are elderly homeowners and poorer homeowners. They're offered cash as part of a homeowners program or some sort of a program to help them, or a grant type program. In reality, what they're doing is they're being coerced into entering into a 40-year listing agreement with this company. That listing agreement is then filed at the clerk of court's office as a covenant running with the land. And over the last year or so, we've had several lawsuits filed enforcing this arrangement. Many people, heirs will inherit a house. Their parents or grandparents will pass. They'll inherit the house, go to try to sell the house, liquidate it as part of the estate, only to find that there's a cloud on the title where this device has been recorded, and then they can't sell it. They have to reach out to this company, and this company says that in order to do that, you're going to pay me what you owe, which is typically 3% of whatever they deem the value of that property to be. And so there are some current laws in place that could help with some of that, but it's in the realm of consumer and elder protections. But a lot of them rely on details that may not be readily available, so it's a little tough to establish probable cause. And current estimates indicate that there are as many as 7,000 such filings in the state currently. So what this bill would do would essentially be to cut off the spigot to create more of these situations, kind of stopping them in the beginning. Section 1 of the bill establishes the action as a listed item in the Fair Business Practice Act of 1975. Section 2 is going to deal with solicitations, unsolicited inquiries. It's going to exempt 3 licensed trades that are covered in other sections of the law and have more stringent requirements. But it's also going to establish a prima facie case on the existence of the solicitation alone. It establishes a new definition in the Beretta laws, the Brokerage Relationships and Real Estate Transaction Act, which defines, this is going to now define an option to enter a brokerage engagement to address the instrument that's currently being used to create these liens. Section 4 establishes default terms for brokerage engagements and options to enter brokerage engagements, and includes that now in that definition in those terms. Section 5 prevents brokerage engagements and options to enter brokerage engagements from being the grounds on which to establish a lien against real property, which is essentially going to be the strongest mechanism to prevent what they're doing now. They won't be able to use the brokerage engagement or an option to enter a brokerage engagement as a means to cloud the title, record a lien. And then Section 6 is very similar to Section 2 in the unsolicited inquiries, but instead of dealing with written unsolicited inquiries, it deals with telephone solicitations. It has the same exemptions that are included in Section 2, and it's primarily that section is looking at wholesalers. There's one group that's doing these long-term brokerage engagements. That's one piece that they're doing an activity. There's another activity that there are wholesalers out here who are basically soliciting homeowners to sell them or contract with them to buy their property. They say they're going to buy it. They enter into an option to buy the property, and then they turn around and go out and try to find somebody to flip that option to, with no intention of ever actually taking title to the property. And what they're really trying to do is they're trying to avoid licensing requirements where they don't have to be a licensed broker. They can go out and basically try to market a property to sell that somebody else's without having to have a real estate license. And they're doing a practice that's essentially, it's called a net listing, which is illegal for us licensees to do. and that they basically get to keep whatever they sell it for above what the contract price is. If we list a property, our commission is going to be clearly stated in the listing agreement, and we can't say, we'll sell your house for $150,000 and we get to keep whatever we sell it for above that. That's illegal in the state of Georgia for us to do that, because it incentivizes folks to try to get the homeowner to take less, and that's not our job. So anyway, that's the portions of the bill, Mr. Chairman, and I would be happy to take any questions that y'all may have.
Thank you. We do have several questions on the for you. Representative Chairman Perkle.
I'll answer any of the three. I think, Mr. Chairman, just at the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion. So,
Number 4. You got a question? Okay. We got a motion. At this time, I asked. Oh, okay. Jeff Lefford, are you good? Okay. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I know you got support for this bill, and thank you, Representative. So I got a motion. Got a second. Any other discussion or questions for the author? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No opposed. Motion passes. Bill
y'all very
passes.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
That
it.
would be LC 491275. Is that correct? Okay. Thank you for bringing the bill on the rules. Okay. Chairman Perkle.
Again. And again. We can't, it's like a boomerang. You keep coming back.
ooh, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
Thank you.
glad to have you here.
Thank you. Since we have actually heard this bill twice already, I am going to hit the very high points on the bill, and I am going to call out LC 510363S is what we're looking at. There again, I'm a little uncomfortable and bringing a hemp bill, but I think it is important that we put belt and suspenders on it. CBD and hemp-derived products are not adequately regulated in the state of Georgia. A 10-year-old can walk in a store and get a 100 milligram THC gummy, and it is completely legal right now. If we pass this bill, it will no longer be legal. At the end of the bill, we talked previously, age of 21. There must be signage in the store. This bill puts guardrails in place. It has the potential to help farmers. It has the potential to help processors, but it will help consumers. We need to know what's in these products. I looked at some medical journals this morning. Recent GAMA study last year purchased 105 products. Only 24% were accurately labeled. 24%. I've got a better ratio than that for the crackers that I buy in the store. There is a couple of things that I would like to talk about. It's easy to get lost in some of the broad language that this particular bill brings out. And just let me assure you that if I have erred, it has been my intention to err on the caution side. The most important part of this bill is the truth and labeling portion. So we have a lot of listings of things that should not be in the hemp products. There are ways that you can synthesize some of these cannabinoids. Thank you. There are ways you can do it that leaves bad stuff behind. Toluene and acetane and some bad acids. It can be distilled in a manner. It's a little more expensive. Takes a little bit longer. But we have testing if it is harmful to you. These synthesized products and the residuals left over. I'm sorry. It's going to be. It's not a cakewalk for the farmers as well. We heard testimony in the Senate committee, and I think the other day, of farmers that put the hemp product on land that had been idle for 3 years, thinking that would be good enough. But the plant is like a sponge. It pulls residual chemicals that's been there for a while. It'll pull it out and it'll test. And I'm sorry for the farmer. I mean, that's kind of part of farming. As a farmer, I know there are things that I could put on the southern pea that you could in Mexico, but in the United States, I cannot. And it cannot be on so there are limitations in farming. And so, is it narrow for the farmers? You better believe it is. Is it narrow for the processors? You better believe it is. Most of the questions I've had has dealt with the definition of hemp. And I've had questions, it does not mirror the federal language, and it does not. But it comes pretty doggone close. And if I have narrowly defined it, based on what the federal definition is, then I think it's drafted correctly. And if you have to vote no because you want it opened up more, then, that's to each individual member. I'm kind of like the church lady on Saturday Night Live. If you're looking for expansion of cannabis and marijuana, I ain't your guy. If you're looking, I vote against alcohol bills. So this is by design, narrowly framed, to provide the most protection that I could see for consumers. And that's what you got right here. That's it, Mr. Chairman. More of a soliloquy.
Thank you, Mr.
than-
Chairman.
Yeah, sorry about
You
that.
have framed that very correctly, and this is, would like to reiterate, this is a consumer protection bill, and that has been my concern for many years, is knowing what we're purchasing. This bill, I think, really does a great job. I thank you for your work on it and want to carry this bill. I've got some questions from our committee. Some people signed up to speak, but I'm not going to let anyone who's already really spoken the other day. I think we went through a lot, heard a lot. If anybody's got anything really different to add to this bill, I see our Ag Commissioner Tyler Harper here. Thank you for coming to the Ag Committee this morning. If you've got anything now or later you'd like to say to a committee, we'd love to hear if you so wish to. But
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
if I may, I know there's a gentleman here that came up from Camden County
Okay.
that was signed up to speak last time. I don't know if he's on your list now, but he didn't get a
Okay.
chance to speak last time.
I'd love to have him come. If somebody knew, if you can take a couple minutes and go to that right there, we'll entertain that right now.
Yes, sir, and it's about 4 minutes. It's prepared, so I'm going to keep it concise, and I'm not going to deviate to respect your time. I'd like to thank y'all for allowing me to speak today. I know you're working hard on the people's business, and it's no easy task, especially with meetings this early in the morning and only 40 days to get it all done. My name's Cody Smith, and I'm blessed to have called Georgia home for the majority of my life. I'm a small hemp retailer with 3 stores located in St. Mary's, Brunswick, and Savannah, Georgia. We are unique in that we sell only hemp products, no tobacco or kratom like many other retailers in the state. We are exceptionally diligent in procuring and verifying only the safest, highest quality hemp products for our consumers. I believe in service above self, and my company exemplifies that in the charitable works we do in our community. We are not this evil, child-preying, poison-slinging retailer that has been portrayed by some legislators when speaking on this bill and its sister bill in the Senate. We would never and have never sold products to a minor, and I can't think of any reputable retailer that would. It is also not true that hemp is being imported from other countries like China and Mexico. I have over 7 years of experience in this industry, and I consider myself an expert on what I'm about to say next. Georgia's competition lies right here in America. States' hemp programs like that of Colorado, Kentucky, and particularly our neighbor to the northwest, Tennessee, are eating our lunch. I know we can't fix Georgia's hemp industry here today, but I would implore you in the future to work on modeling our own program after that of Tennessee, where farmers stand to benefit the most, not the producers. I know my time, the processors. I know my time is short, so these are my 4 asks from this committee. I agree that the provision relating to having to be 21 or older should take effect immediately upon the signing of the governor, but I ask that all provisions take effect January 1st, 2024, to allow retailers to transition into compliance without losing invested inventory and find new vendors that meet this bill's full panel testing and labeling requirements. I also ask that if it is the will of this body to impose a 25 milligram per dose limit, that they include a 10 to 15% variance window, as production is not an absolute process. An example would be a gummy labeled as 20 milligrams, but a lab report shows 18 or 22 milligrams. This ensures truth in labeling among products. I ask that you remove tetrahydrocannabinolic acid from the definition of THC on page 6 of the version I have. The most current version isn't available online. And replace it with Delta-9 THC to model the Tennessee hemp program. THCA is naturally occurring and non-psychoactive and would allow more leeway for our Georgia farmers to be competitive in the national market. The Georgia market cannot support this industry alone. And lastly, I ask that you allow our farmers to remediate any hemp produced that tests hot. Currently, their only avenue is to dispose of their crop, costing them thousands. The USDA has an approved process for remediating hemp that involves stripping and disposing of the flower from the stalk and grinding the rest into a biomass that is then retested for compliance. This would allow them to recover some of the potential loss of having to destroy months of hard labor, time, and money. Thank you again for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for coming and for those suggestions. Do we have any questions for the gentleman at the podium? Representative Donahue.
Thank you, Chairman. You just said what line and what you wanted to take out and add. Could you repeat that again?
So it's the definition of THC. It was on page 6 of LC 510332.
Right.
That's the only one available online. I'm not sure where it is in your bill.
Okay. And with that, your expertise, I like this bill. I've been for the bill. What I want to see is it done right.
Correct. Yes,
And,
sir.
you know, not come back next year. We play this every year, and that's my pet peeve. With everything we do, if we don't do it right, then, you know, we shouldn't.
Correct.
So with that, your expertise, you're saying this is going to help this a whole lot better by taking this out and putting the other in.
Yes, sir. So the definition of hemp products is just Delta-9, a concentration of Delta-9 THC. But right there, they define THC as tetrahydrocannabinol and tetrahydrocannabinolic acid. Since it's naturally occurring in the plant, when you do that formulation, when you include THCA and Delta-9 THC, it limits it has more potential for hemp to be hot. It limits farmers, and since it's not a provision of the federal definition of hemp, I'd like to see that removed, and that's modeled in Tennessee's hemp program as well.
And thank you. And the chairman here, I told him that I really like this bill too, but I asked a question, not being a farmer, about when it gets hot, you waste a lot of money, and when it, it happens, and you comment on that, but I want to make sure that, the farmer comes out really well on this too.
So I want this gentleman to speak because he came a long way, and we should hear him. I'm not in favor of the amendments he wants to change. Although I am a farmer and I know the risks involved in farming, if you've got a hot field, that's no longer hemp, that's marijuana. And I know for a fact in the state of Georgia that's illegal. So there is a way, you are correct, there is a way that you can take that out, that you can take the hot material and work it down and get it legal. There absolutely is. But for that plant that's in the field, for our sheriffs, for our law enforcement officials, that is no longer a legal product. It is, at that point, it's illegal. So you can make it legal. You're absolutely right, and he knows.
And that's for another day and
It
another
is.
bill
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
and another sponsor for that. So, but thank you for that. And I would urge you to continue to have dialogue with me or Chairman Perkle about some of those suggestions, or any member of this committee, but I think we got our bill on the floor.
Absolutely. Thank you, committee members.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for those suggestions. Is anybody else in the audience that has not either prior meetings or feel the need to speak to this bill, anything specific? I see I've got some questions or here. Chairman Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Perkle, I apologize. I didn't do due diligence before we arrived. Within, I guess, lines 57 through the pesticides that we're giving a tolerance for.
That's right.
To my recollection, there's nothing labeled for hemp. Is that correct?
That is correct. There's nothing labeled for hemp.
So if we give a tolerance for chemicals, pesticides that are not labeled, are we encouraging producers to utilize these chemicals that would be?
So anytime that you use, Aldicarb, that you're familiar with, bifenthrin, that you're familiar with, diazonine that you're familiar with, if you use that, it's going to knock it off the chart here. This is in virgin land, making sure that this plant, like for 3 years, they can still pull it out of the soil. And there's a fancy name for what the plant does in phytomediate, but it pulls it residuals that's been in it for a while. This just makes sure that we have a safety profile, but this, in my opinion, does not encourage people to use it, because I mean, if you open up a jug of malathion close to your hemp field, it's going to test positive, so it's not good.
Well, thank you for that explanation. I appreciate that. I was just making sure that we were not encouraging producers to utilize this, which would be in violation of the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act.
Absolutely.
Representative Cannon. Is it?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just had a producer in my district had a concern with how we measure it. And on section 1, lines 33 through 35, we do a percentage weight measurement restriction. And then section 6, 264 through 267, we do a milligram weight. And their concern basically is if the products they sell basically are legal with the milligram weight, it's their best-selling products, therapeutics, sleep anxiety, seizure control, things like that, and that would be legal for the milligram weight. But then if you apply their products to the percentage weight on THC, it would make them illegal. And they're kind of concerned that would make their best-selling products now unable to sell because it would be higher than the 0.3% THC level set.
That's right.
And they think that, the percentage weight can be manipulated somewhat, so that's their concern. We talked about it earlier.
So the 0.3% on a dry weight basis does flow directly from the federal language of the 2018 Farm Bill that took hemp from a schedule to so that's where that 0.3, and I'm pretty set on that. In fact, I didn't even want to include there again. If I'm going to err, I promise you, I'm going to err if I know it on the side of caution, and much to the chagrin of some of the people behind me probably. But and that's okay. But that came directly from the definition. I was not even willing to include language that just said of the federal mandate, because I think 0.3% I'm comfortable with. I have no idea what the federal government might do next year. They could raise it to 3%, and I would be against it. And I wouldn't want this. Someone else can come back if the federal guidelines change and make that motion, but it won't be me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for bringing the bill. What percentage of product you said it was tested that found that did not comply with what was labeled?
JAMA found 24% were accurately labeled.
Only 24, so
That's right. Do the math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot, 76. But, so anyway, but in lines, I guess 40, starting in line 40, where we're doing a full panel
Yes.
certificate of analysis with I guess a Department of Ag approved laboratory, and with QR code on each package or whatever,
So
that
you
will
have a
certify
QR code.
a
That's
QR
right.
code. That way we'll know what's in the product that we're selling. So
That is
I think
correct.
that's a great addition to this, and I'm glad you finally come around to my way of thinking after your initial vote.
So, Mr. Chairman, I started my presentation by saying, I told you so. It was not ready, but to my friend, you did a lot of work on this, and I do appreciate that. And there again, if I did err, my intention is to err on the side of caution, and that's what this bill reflects. Thank you.
Okay, I see, thank you.
This is a sample product, and I showed it around. Chairman Taylor in the back, she was so nervous this morning, she couldn't get her phone to hold steady enough to do the QR code, but this was pretty. I walked into that one, thank you, Mr. Chairman, but I do have, if you like afterwards, to take pictures, see what's in these things, see what is on that label, thank you.
Well, thank you, Chairman, and so I think we're in a mode to take a motion, and number 27. Got a motion to do pass. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second. Any other discussion on HB 458? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? One no. So noted. Motion passes. Bill passes. Thank you on the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Does the committee have any other business come? Anyone? Representative Lewis Ward.
Just an announcement. Thank you, Mr. Chair. March 1st kicks off Women's Month, and just a reminder that on March 21st, it will be Women in Agriculture Day at the Capitol, and everybody's invited.
Thank you very much. We'll do that.